This is Kerrigan and Company. Why have a job when you can have a purpose? When you work for the Northeast Arc, you're joining a team dedicated to creating inclusive communities for people with disabilities. As an organization that supports more than 10,000 people each year, it's easy to find a role that fits your skills and passion. Become part of an organization that's been named one of the best employers in Massachusetts. Visit nearc.org/careers now to view job opportunities and apply. That's nearc.org/careers. We're celebrating 100 shows as we look back on some of our favorite moments from this year's episodes of Kerrigan and Company.
Kerrigan and Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan and Company is here for you.
Welcome, everyone, to the 100th, yes, I said 100th episode of Kerrigan and Company. We are so glad that you could join us. Here during the holidays, it's such a treat for this to be the 100th. So we thought the perfect way to celebrate for the holidays as well as marking this milestone would be to look back at the year 2025 here on Kerrigan and Company. We've had some incredible co-hosts, guests, and moments, and we'd like to share some of our favorites with you. So my executive producer and I sat down and we said, first off, let's take a look at some of the co-hosts. And there have been so many great ones, so it was a difficult decision to make, but we wanted to share a few moments with you. And we're going to start with Boston 25 morning show meteorologist Sherry Spear. Now, she came to join us and she talked about her career, about how love and the job took her away from New England, but she could not wait to get back. This is home for you, and you did move away for a bit, thanks to working in media. It does it to you, right?
That's how the business works.
Yeah, but ultimately, you spent a little time in Miami, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I got my start in Western Mass in Springfield, and I was there for almost 4 years at my first meteorology job. Then I went down to Miami for 2. My husband and I and our kids, we thought we wanted an adventure. We'd always been New Englanders, so we were like, we want to go somewhere else. And it took us no time at all. In Florida to realize that we wanted to come home.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no place like home, really. If you're a New Englander, this will always call to you.
Back in June, my former Channel 7 co-anchor, Randy Price, joined me. What a treat that was. I hadn't seen Randy for a long time. He was in town because he was being inducted into the Broadcast Hall of Fame here in Massachusetts. He said, absolutely, I'll come over and spend some time with you and be my co-host. And I have to tell you, the minute he walked in the door, we picked up like we had been together the day before. You retired from Channel 5 back in 22?
It's been 4 years in May. Yeah, last month. So it's been 4 years. Sometimes I say that to myself, and I'm like, I can't believe time flies, of course. And I've been enjoying retirement. It's been a lot of fun. We now live in South Carolina most of the time, and we really enjoy down there because we're gardeners.
Absolutely.
And we can garden year-round there, and we've learned new things, and we try to pay a lot of attention to fitness. That's one thing you do when you're iconic. And so we've been really enjoying it, and we travel a lot.
Yeah, I know you do, which is so great. I mean, it feels like you and Mark are just living your best lives, and I'm so happy for that. That's what everybody hopes.
You have your health, and you have, I have a wonderful relationship of now 49 years, and so we're really blessed and fortunate people.
Back in August, things really heated up here in the studio because legendary radio DJ Matt Siegel was back in town, and he came over to spend a little time with me. Oh, it was great to catch up. We've known each other since I came to Boston. Right. You started to interview me, back when I was on TV early on.
Yep.
And you've never come off to me as a guy who wanted to go off into retirement and just be gone forever and be on a golf course with, I know you enjoy golf and I know you like the warm weather, but you've never, ever been somebody that it seemed like to me would be gone forever. So I must be right. You must kind of earn,
Basically what you're saying is I've made numerous miscalculations with my life. And,
now, Matt, you're saying not me.
It's the big C. It's the big C. It was COVID.
Yeah.
So I retired there was COVID, and I was getting a little bit burnt out. I mean, I was on KISS for over 40 years, so I decided, oh, the hell with it. So then I'm down in Florida, and I'm there like 3 weeks, and I'm thinking, oh, what have I done? It's yeah. And then I went on with my friend Fred Toucher on the radio.
Yes.
And
And then you said, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah. I heard him ask you, do you miss it? And you didn't even hesitate. Usually, like people will say to me, do you miss TV? And I go, well, I got to explain my situation for you to understand how I feel about it. He said, do you miss radio? And you said, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and then there's a silly thing. I don't know how to say this without sounding stupid, but I was pretty well known here.
Yeah.
And so I would go places and people would take my picture and all that. And I was always aware that this isn't normal. I mean, your average happy person doesn't need to be recognized, but that was my life.
Right.
And you get used to it.
You bet you do.
I moved to Florida, and I was nobody. And the difference between walking into a place and having, oh, it's Maddie, let me take your picture, and in Florida when it's like you're just some old guy in the way.
Well,
it's crazy.
Now, in October, actor, rapper, and entrepreneur George Carroll, better known as Slaine, came in to be my co-host. It was really fun because he had actually been a guest on the show earlier in the year, and my executive producer Dave and I both said, we didn't hear enough of his incredible story. We've got to have him back. Wait till you hear just a little bit about Slaine. But let's back up a little bit and just talk about how you became an actor.
Well, I mean, how I became an actor was completely random.
Yeah.
It started with music for me. That was my passion that I pursued. And the Boston Herald did a story about me for my music. And Ben Affleck was in town at the time casting for his directorial debut, which was Gone Baby Gone. And he saw me in the paper, and I woke up the next day in the middle of the afternoon at the time, because that's how I used to roll. But that was, and I had all these missed phone calls, and it was Ben calling me in for an audition, and I went in to read for a character named Cheese originally, and ended up getting the role of Bubba Rogowski, and that was how my acting career started.
It all started from there.
I've done 20 movies since then. So.
Golly. All of which, by the way, are big movies. You've had parts in these really big, fabulous movies. And so we fast forward now, and he's about to be a part of a movie that is going to be a huge blockbuster. I really do believe, don't you? I think this is going to be a really big one. And that's
The Running Man.
The Running Man.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the remake of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. This is a Stephen King novel.
Which I didn't know that,
Yeah.
by the way. I was a huge fan of that movie, but he wrote it under a pen name. So that makes sense why I didn't know that when I was growing up. But, yeah,
absolutely. And what's interesting about it, I think, is that they're saying that this version of it is going to be much closer to the book than the original. This version of it has a character that you play, the first did not. So tell everybody about that.
Yeah, without giving too much away,
Yeah.
I play a character that kind of works for the game show / the government, and kind of looks after the interests of the contestants.
And just a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Jen Arnold joined me to be my co-host. Now, just like Slaine, she had been a guest earlier in the year. She joined us by Zoom then, and we just didn't get enough of her. So she came into the studio. What an episode this one was. Take a look. Just recap a little bit about going to med school. And it was a challenge for you.
Oh, yes. I mean, back when I was applying to medical school, it's a long time ago now, it seems. I can't believe it. But, I didn't know any other people who had a disability who were physicians. I knew that I had an amazing doctor growing up, and I was inspired by him. I wanted to help other kids in a way I had benefited because, I feel like here I am. I've just had this wonderful life, yes, lots of medical challenges, but I felt very fortunate to have found him, and I wanted to do the same for other kids. And when I, applied to medical school, a lot of folks said, it's going to be pretty tough, pretty physically demanding, only the best of the best, get into medical school, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, okay, but I won't know unless I try. So I'm the kind of girl that likes to have her cake and eat it too. So, I'm just going to go for it until like I can't go for it anymore. And so I applied, but then I didn't realize, oh my goodness, there definitely was a lot of bias. I mean, I applied to over 40 schools, similar to other peers of mine, friends who had similar grades and pre-medical testing scores, and I had, lots of activities. And so I thought my sort of quote unquote application was pretty competitive. But as they kept getting, interviews, I was not. And I was getting straight up rejection letters. And I think I came to realize that in my personal statement, I was very upfront and transparent about the fact that I'm a little person. I'm only 3'2", and I want to go into medicine because I have been a patient all my life, and I want to get back.
Who better? Who better, right?
Thank you. I mean, I feel that way, and I think that's the benefit of individuals with disabilities being in medicine and healthcare. But, I don't know that everyone else sees it that way. And so I really struggled. I got really 2 interviews, which is a whole nother long story I'm happy to share, but I got 2 interviews and I got accepted at both the places that I had the opportunity to interview, but most places wouldn't interview me because there's just these standards that are so subjective, where they're looking for a physician to sort of have the capability to be all areas of medicine. And yes, particularly back then, I don't know, 20 years from now, there's going to be more technology, but it would have been hard for me to be physically like an orthopedic surgeon maybe, but not impossible. I actually know another little person who's an orthopedic surgeon now. So, I mean, not impossible, but there's so many areas of healthcare and medicine that you can contribute to. And so if, those other programs that sort of had a blinders on that you have to be capable of doing it all, what ends up happening is they miss out on really great, providers because of that sort of narrow-mindedness. So I was lucky that 2 places took a chance on me, and I actually got to go to my dream school, which was Johns Hopkins.
Get ready for another dazzling season of musicals at Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. The rhythm is gonna get you when the 2026 season begins in June with On Your Feet, the inspiring true story of Emilio and Gloria Estefan. Followed by a colorful production of the family favorite, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And it will be nothing but a good time when Rock of Ages rocks the NSMT stage. That is followed by the breathtaking Tony Award-winning musical, Come From Away. Welcome to the Rock. And the season ends with a haunting production of Yeston and Kopitz' Phantom. For more information about North Shore Music Theater tickets, discount subscription packages, and our full season of kid shows and concerts, please visit nsmt.org.
This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back to this 100th edition of Kerrigan and Company. We hope that you're enjoying your holiday as much as we're enjoying ours, and I hope you're enjoying a look back at 2025 here on Kerrigan and Company. Now, we just saw some of the great clips from some of the co-hosts, but of course we had many wonderful guests, many of whom joined us by Zoom. So let's get started with one of my favorites. He's one of your favorites too. Hometown boy, of course, a member of New Kids on the Block. This is Joey McIntyre. Dropping a new album, Freedom. Tell me all about Freedom. I know it's an autonomous album, and I know you've been really excited about getting this one out.
Yeah, I mean, making a full-length album is an accomplishment. I think it's almost like in the music business, it's like writing a book instead of just an article or something. Yeah. It was important to me. I was in good form. I've been doing a lot of solo shows. My friend and co-writer, Sean Thomas, he and I have been touring, and then we did like half the New Kids album that we just did last year. It's a great album. So I guess I was in fighting shape. I did feel like as a writer, I was able to honestly address some of the things that I was going through. Now, not that it's super explicit. I think it's just a vibe of like owning my space. Obviously, I'm so grateful for what the New Kids have been able to experience and just a great history and hanging in there as, we're family, and then we have, amazing fans and coming from Boston. There's a lot to that recipe that we've enjoyed. And also it's important for me to carve my own path, and have my own autonomy. And I think, you could even say like you're known from so many people, but here you are doing this podcast now. It's like, it's easy for people to go, oh, I'll just do the gig that, my bread and butter. But like you have to get up and get at it. It doesn't happen on its own. So I hope people can relate, in that way. And it's been fun. It's been really fun to, and I'm satisfied with it, at the end of the day, which is a huge plus.
Well,
and
let me ask you why it took you so long to do this. I mean, first off, it's not like you haven't been out there on your own, because you have. I mean, you've had incredible success, obviously, with the New Kids, but without them, you really have. But why so long for this kind of album?
Yeah, well, I guess, I've been busy enough I would write a song here, release a single here, write for the New Kids over the years. And then I was busy doing other things, either theater or TV or, movie here and there. I think because, I wanted it to be decent. I wanted it to have a through line. I wanted to have a sort of a cohesiveness and not just throw a bunch of songs together. And that was a process, and it took, intention. I'm actually reading my good friend Debbie Gibson, who we call each other pop soulmates, but we've reconnected over the last few years, and I'm actually reading her book that's going to be out in the fall. Anyways, I'm going to tell her to do your podcast, do this thing. So what I'm getting at is she just finished an album. She's written tons of songs over the years, but like I saw her finish an album a few years ago, and I really admired the work ethic, you know what I mean? And the grit that it takes to finish that kind of a project. And it's great. It's 10 songs. It's 32 minutes. It's a commute. It's a bus ride. It's a train ride. But it packs a punch. So,
let me ask you this. And if you'd like to see Joey McIntyre and, of course, New Kids on the Block, if you'd like to see him on stage, that is, be sure you check them out in Vegas. Their new residency starts in February. Well, it was in June that we decided that we do a complete show about Alzheimer's disease. Of course, that's a tough subject to broach, but it was wonderful to have as a guest the former anchor of Entertainment Tonight, Leeza Gibbons. She has been working diligently and tirelessly for that cause, and she explains to us why. It would seem to me that someone gets a diagnosis and it's very difficult for that individual for a certain amount of time, but then the burden becomes so much heavier on those around that person who love them and who are taking care of them. And that's where I know you personally have really seen, a need.
Well, I always say at Leeza's Care Connection, where we offer hope and help and healing, and really just help people call on their courage, because what you're talking about, Kim, is this requires that you summon strength you didn't know you had. Because it's like, bam, you get smacked down, then it's bam, one more thing. So caregivers are always problem solving. They're on duty 24/7. It's one of the most anxiety producing things you can do. And yet, as society in general, we tend to think that, oh, well, they'll get used to it and it'll get better over time and they'll cope. And you know what? Yes, we do cope and we do rise, but we can't do it alone. And that's why what we're talking about today is so important, because it's very easy to lose yourself. How do you hang on to yourself while you're letting go of someone you love, while you are doing anticipatory grieving every single day, saying goodbye to someone who's still there and yet they're not? I think that was probably the hardest thing for me with my mom and my grandmom, is their body was still there, but Jay so beautifully wrote about that in his song, Blank Stares. You look at their faces and you wonder, do they know me? Are they still in there? Are they in pain? What are they thinking? And at a certain point, those who are forgetting will not be forgotten, but we really don't know what they're experiencing. We know what we're experiencing as the care partners,
Right.
and sometimes it's tremendous devastation.
Now, in July, I was lucky enough to interview a Barnstable kid who has made it big. Actor Neil McDonough joined us. It was so fun to talk to him. I cannot believe how many things I have seen him in through the years, including Tulsa Kings, which is on right now. Listen to this interview with Neil McDonough. Let's back up way, way back and talk about growing up in this area and what kind of impact that's had on your life, because this is not Hollywood.
No, and that's why I love, we're going back to the Cape in a couple of weeks for a little bit with the kids. And the thing that I love so much about Boston, and our daughter, Catherine, is going to Emerson next year. So that makes me so happy that I'll be back in Boston a lot more, watching her play volleyball. But, there's the truthfulness of people from the Northeast that you don't generally get so much out here in California. If someone doesn't like you, they're going to tell you. If there's a problem with something, they're going to tell you. But in the West Coast, that's generally not the case. No one wants to, ruffle feathers or it's just a different atmosphere. I miss Boston honesty and the integrity and the hardworking people of New England. That's in me. That's who I am. My parents came from Ireland. They came with $12 in their pocket. And when my dad said, when he sent me out to Hollywood, when I went out to Hollywood for the first time, and he said, if they give you $1, give them $2 worth of effort. And that's kind of that New England mentality, isn't it? That we can do anything, we can work hard, and that's what we are. And I miss home like crazy. Nothing would make me happier than if I can start doing some of these films with Reve and I back in Boston and be part of the culture that I love so much and immerse myself in it again. I miss it dearly, that's for sure.
That's so cool. Someone that both Liz and I know, Casey Sherman. Casey Sherman is your good friend. You guys stay in touch.
Casey and I went to high school. He gave me the beautiful task 2 years ago. We were at the Wilbur Theater, and we did a one-night show about Whitey Bulger, and I played Whitey. And I'll tell you, it's hard to imagine a more electrifying evening for me. It seemed like half of my high school was in the theater that night. It wasn't the truth, but they're all screaming. And to play Whitey Bulger, such a polarizing figure, where I'd be giving these massive monologues, and halfway through a monologue would have people say, "We love you, Whitey," from the crowd next to, "We hate you, Whitey, you killed such a..." And as an actor, it just charges you up even more. So I had a ball that night. It was... Again, to show off on stage in front of Reve, and my brother Bob was there, my family was there, go sign at signs on the Cape. I love it. It was just one of those amazing things. So for me to be back in Boston, it just felt right. And I'm praying that, we're going to figure out ways to get back to Boston so it feels right more often.
Now we fast forward to September when the Boston Film Festival was taking place. And one of the actors in a feature film here joined us before it even debuted here in Boston, right here on Kerrigan and Company. It was great fun to be charmed by Bradley James. Have you ever been to Boston?
No, I'm excited for my first time.
What?
My mum has been. She came back. This is when I was ever so small. She went to Boston, and I actually, as you can tell by my accent, I actually grew up in Florida. That's a true story. And she went up to Boston without me, but she came back with an absolute stash of chocolates, candy, as you might say. And I assumed, therefore, that Boston was the greatest place in the world when I was a young child, given that she'd come back with this loot.
Oh, that's great. How long will you be here when you come to visit?
I think we're there for 3 or 4 days.
Great.
That's a good question, and I should know the answer. I don't, but that is definitely something I should inform myself of. It's a few days next week, I believe.
Good. Well, the weather will be beautiful, and we hope that you get out and get to see our fair city. I understand that you call it football. That's not what we know as football. We know it as soccer, but I understand that you are a big fan.
I'm a big fan of both forms of football.
I love it.
I'm a long-suffering Miami Dolphin. You wouldn't necessarily have had the suffering experience as New England Patriots. You have tasted success often and don't have to put up with the levels of mediocrity that Miami produce every year. But yes, the English form I'm also very much passionate about my football.
In October, I had a chance to talk about two of my favorite things, football and wine. And I had the chance to talk with Drew Bledsoe about them both. Drew, I got to ask you, actually, I got to be honest with you, this kind of ticks me off. Your career oftentimes, I think, is, or the first thing that people say about your career is that you're the guy that Tom Brady took your job. And it feels very unfair to me. You had an absolutely unbelievable career, and you did fabulous things for the Patriots. You were a Pro Bowler while you were playing here. You took this team that was horrific and brought them into the light. You were the #1 draft pick, for goodness sakes. So tell me, Bob asked you about how you navigate. How do you navigate that? That the first thing people say.
I think at the very top level, the most important piece that I want people to hear is that nobody should ever feel sorry for me. Man, I mean, I grew up in Walla Walla, got to be a #1 overall draft pick, got to lead 3 different franchises, lots of Pro Bowls, lots of stuff. And man, what a privilege it was. And I am eternally grateful for that experience that I got to have. So I don't have any bitterness in me about that experience. Now, that being said, I do want people to recognize I was actually pretty damn good at my job. When I retired, there were only a few guys in the history of the NFL that had thrown for more yards than I had when I retired. It was Fran Tarkenton, Dan Marino, John Elway, Warren Moon, and Brett Favre. That was the entire list of people that had thrown for more yards than I had when I retired. I was the all-time single-season passing leader for 3 different franchises when I retired. So I'm not embarrassed in my career at all. And I do recognize that sometimes the perception is that I was just the guy that came before the guy. But I know, and people that played against me know that I had a pretty nice career. I'm a pretty damn good player when I played. But if you're asking if there's any bitterness in me about the experience, there absolutely is not. I mean, what an amazing ride. And my dad was a high school football coach. My dad got to sit in NFL football meetings with me. I got to do all these amazing things and have these amazing teammates, amazing friends. And so I just have a complete gratitude in my heart for the experience that I got to have. It almost never goes perfect for anybody. Mine certainly didn't go perfect, but man, I had a hell of a ride, man. And I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, it was a moment before the Super Bowl where Belichick called both of you guys in, not you and Brady, in separately, and told you were not going to start, and Brady that he was going to start. Now, you're not in control of your situation. Never are we always reminded we're never really in control of our situation. How disbelieving was that moment for you?
Bob, it was really crazy because, I'd been the guy there for 8 years and a couple games, and then finally got to play again in the AFC Championship game and played well. And I tell people it was like giving a starving man a cracker. I was starving to play, and I finally got to have a little snack, and then they took away the rest of dinner. I didn't get to play in the Super Bowl game. But it's at the end of the day, as you said, and it's very true, we're never fully in control of everything that happens, but we are in control of one thing. We're in control of how we conduct ourselves and how we handle things.
Right.
And ultimately, how you react to situations like that, that's what defines you. Nobody's ever lived without adversity ever, even for a day or a week in many cases. And we oftentimes can't control what happens to us, but we always have control of how we conduct ourselves. And thankfully I had just great parents and great friends around me and great support. And the nice thing is now when I come back, because I didn't make a mess of things, when I come back to Boston, it's a really cool thing for me. Because when I was playing, if I was out in public, it was pictures, it was autographs, it was selfies, whatever, all this stuff. Now when I come back, I feel like people treat me like their own friend that came home. I'll be walking down the street and some bus drivers, some cop will drive by like, "Hey, what's up, Drew? Good to see you, man. Hope the wine business is good." So it's really just a cool thing. And so it's the relationship that I have with New England is very strong, and it's strong in a way that's very personal. You guys know, as I learned, that Boston's pretty tight knit, and some of these relationships go back many generations. And it's hard to break through and become part of the family. And I really feel like I'm part of the family when I come back there. And it's incredibly meaningful to me when I get to experience that.
So that was just a smidgen of the wonderful guests that we had throughout 2025, and I hope you enjoyed it. So when we come back, let's take a look at my favorite feature of Kerrigan & Company, that being the Fast Five. I have to tell you, I've heard some answers that have really surprised me. The holidays are here, and if you're looking to brighten someone's day, I hope you'll consider some of the incredible lighting options at Lucia Lighting and Design for inside or outside the home. Get that special someone the perfect gift they want, but might not buy for themselves from Lucia Lighting and Design at 311 Western Avenue in Lynn. They have so much more than lighting, with several showrooms full of furniture, accessories, art, rugs, and fans. Gift certificates are a great option if you know your gift recipient will want to pick out their own pieces. Learn more at lucialighting.com.
Are you ready for the holidays? There's no better way to enjoy them than with Rumsen's Coffee Nog. And it's so easy to make. In a cocktail shaker filled with ice, gently combine 1 ounce of Rumsen's coffee rum and 3 to 4 ounces of Hood Golden Eggnog or your favorite eggnog. Strain over light ice in a glass of your choice. Yum, yum, yummy. Ask for Rumsen's Rum at your local liquor store today. Rumsen's. Life lived. Life enjoyed.
This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by the North Shore Music Theater, which has just announced its spectacular 2026 season. Learn more at nsmt.org. Welcome back, everyone, to Kerrigan & Company. This being the 100th episode, and we decided what better way to celebrate 100 than to look back over 2025 and some of the highlights. We've shown you some of our favorite co-host clips and guest clips, but now I want to share with you our most popular feature. In fact, on social media, it just goes crazy, and that is Fast Five. Now, first up is fashion designer David Joseph. I adore David Joseph, but you know what? We stumped him just a bit. Take a listen. Favorite fabric that you like to work with?
Oh my God! Velvet.
Really?
No.
Oh,
silk wool. Okay, thank you.
There you go,
Yeah.
silk wool. Who was your celebrity crush when you were a teenager?
Melissa Manchester.
Your favorite place to go when you do finally vacation?
Paris.
Celebrities that you have not dressed yet that you would like to. Give me 2 names.
Oh, that's really good. Oh my God.
It's hard.
I know. That is really hard. I've dressed everyone. Kamala Harris.
Okay.
And
good. And I think Billie Eilish.
No, she needs me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll go there. Yeah.
And what's your favorite pizza topping?
Pineapple, Hawaiian. Pineapple and ham. Yes.
There you have it.
Oh, now I want that for lunch. See?
How I love that, David Joseph. All right, fast forwarding now to July, and design expert Tanya Nyack was my co-host. So we sat down to do the Fast Five, and wait till you hear what she said. I was shocked. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color is beige.
All right, that's it. We're wrapped up.
It's the truth. I don't know what to say. I'm a very neutral girl.
She's a neutral girl. What's the best kitchen gadget?
Best kitchen gadget is my air fryer.
Mine too. What is one design trend you hope will go away very soon?
Oh, geez. Design trend that I hope will go away very soon. Oh, my gosh. I don't know. That's a hard one. I don't know. I can't. It'll take. me 30
I
seconds.
actually kind of hope that we start adding a little more color back in. I do love neutrals too. But
Color's all over the place
Yeah.
right now. I mean, you know, I think the reason I can't answer that question is because I'm always kind of going with things and seeing things, and there's nothing that really offends me. Like, I love a ceiling fan.
Yeah.
People hate I like a ceiling fan. Sue me.
What TV show have you watched over and over again?
Over and over. Well, I can tell you what movie I've watched
Yeah?
over and over again. I can never get enough of The Notebook. It's just like I cry every single time
Yep.
in the same spots, and every time I see, if I'm flipping through, I'm watching it.
Isn't it funny too? You know what's coming, and still you
cry.
could just be. I know exactly what
Ugly
you're saying.
cry.
And finally, what's the best thing that you did on a recent trip to South Africa?
Oh, the best thing I did on a recent trip to South Africa. I mean, just, gosh, all of it was so good. I got to see a lion with its cubs in its own natural habitat. It was just so amazing to see in real life.
Yeah. I still am a little bit surprised that Tanya Nyack says beige is her favorite color. Now, the next co-host that I want to show you doing Fast Five, I am positive that beige is not her favorite color. And that is a former TV friend of mine. She used to be at WBZ. She was also at Channel 7 with me. She was a Hollywood reporter. Of course, I'm talking about Sarah Edwards. It was so great to see Sarah, who now lives in California, by the way, but came back and spent some time with us here in the studio. And when we started talking about the Fast Five, wait until you hear what she had to say about the movie Lord of the Rings. Who's one of your favorite celebrities that you've interviewed?
Tom Hanks.
Who is one celebrity that you haven't interviewed but you wish you could?
I love Lady Gaga.
Now that you live in Pasadena, of course, home to the Rose Bowl parade, do you have roses in your yard?
I did, but they died.
Uh-oh.
They died. Little yellow roses. They were my mother's. I transported them to my little back garden. All right, I'm going to replant now.
If you were responsible for selecting People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive, who would you choose?
I always liked... well, I love George Clooney at any age. I don't care. I would put him back up there again, or Brad Pitt. They're interchangeable. I don't care how old they get.
I'm with you. And what is one movie that everyone seems to love that you didn't?
Oh, God. Lord of the Rings. I called it Bored with the Rings, and I had people hating me for that. I could not stand Lord of the Rings.
I do have to tell you. Okay, now I want you to listen to how Carson Tager, of course, he is the co-host of Carson and Kennedy on Mix 104.1. Listen how he answered the Fast Five. Who is your favorite artist that you play on Mix?
Probably Taylor Swift.
If you weren't on the radio, what other career would you be doing, and do you think you'd be successful?
I would absolutely crush it as an attorney. I love to argue, Kim.
What was the best? I'm going to ask Kennedy about that.
She'll agree.
What was the best place that you were stationed while you were in the Army?
Oh, I love Fayetteville, North Carolina. It has a bad reputation, but a wonderful, wonderful community there.
What was your favorite, and currently is your favorite song to play on the guitar?
Bob Marley, Three Little Birds.
If you were a wrestler, what would be your entrance theme song?
It would probably be a Coldplay song, which doesn't sound very intimidating. I don't know that would put the fear into anybody. How about some AC/DC?
There you go. Right.
Right? Just
It's got to
something-
be like Highway to Hell or something like that.
Coldplay
right?
probably just doesn't do it.
I love that Taylor Swift. I love that you said Taylor Swift.
She's amazing.
though.
She's the most important artist of this generation.
By far. You know, I could see Carson actually being an attorney, but I think he's going to have to work on that entrance song. I saved my favorite Fast Five for last. It was HGTV Christina Creston. You know who she is. She's a fabulous designer, and she was a ton of fun when she joined me. When we sat down to do the Fast Five, I have to tell you, I didn't know what I was in for. And no one up to this point had ever said what she said to me. What's your favorite color?
Turquoise. Never waver.
If you didn't live in New England, where would you live?
Pass. I mean,
pass is not part of
I mean, I can make up my own rules. I'm a New England girl. Like I would be in Maine if I couldn't be in Massachusetts. I don't know if there's anywhere else top of mind.
There you have it. If you had to change your first name, what would you want it to be?
Well, when I was little, I wanted to be Crystal. And I named my Lego person Crystal. I think because Crystal Gale was a thing at the time. I don't know. But now that sounds like not the right answer.
That sounds like you might be a pole dancer. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, could I let John Knight answer this for me? I'm a morning person and I'm in bed by 8:30.
What's your favorite New Kids on the Block song?
Obvious. Oh, I thought you would say, who's my favorite new kid? Like, girl, don't ask that one. So this is where you come back to being like, it sounds so ridiculous, but it's like Step by Step is still the childhood song. It was my first concert when I was 12, was New Kids. And so this goes full circle, right, to how it happens later in life.
I do love that Fast Five segment. You never know what somebody's going to say. All right, when we come back, we'll wrap up this 100th episode of Kerrigan & Company. There's nothing like all of the holiday parties and gatherings at this time of year. And of course, I want to look my best, and I know you do too. My friends at Sienna Aesthetic Medical Spa can make sure that happens. Now, through the end of the year, they're extending their Black Friday specials. That means you could enjoy 20% off hydrofacials and microneedling packages. They're offering discounts on Botox and so much more. And if you're looking for the perfect gift, how about a gift card? Make an appointment today. Go to SiennaAesthetics.com. That's SiennaAesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this 100th episode of Kerrigan & Company as much as we enjoyed putting it together. It's always so fun to look back at all the wonderful co-hosts and guests that have been so kind to share an hour with us. We have so much appreciated that, and we appreciate all of you and the support that you've given us in 2025. We're going to take a week off, enjoy it with our families, as I know you are too. And a new episode of Kerrigan & Company will be available on Tuesday, January the 6th. We will have new co-hosts and new guests coming your way. And if you have any suggestions for guests or co-hosts, we'd love to hear from you. You can go to our website. It's KerriganandCompanyPod.com and leave us a message there. And in the meantime, if you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and be sure you follow us on social. Have a great new year, everybody, and I will see you in January. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Kerrigan & Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan & Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan & Company is David Thompson, and our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.